You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. This is about the most self-serving tip I've ever shared, but if you take it to heart, I think it will serve you too. Here's Nick Cegelski.
This one is just a testimonial to the Sales Success Stories podcast. Scott, I owe you so much, and my sales career owes you so much for what you've done with this show. I want to give a shout out to David Weiss. He probably doesn't even remember this, but he got on the phone with me when I was really struggling as an SDR and actually helped me figure out what I needed to do next to take control of my career narrative and find success. I have listened to probably 90% of the episodes Scott has put out, most of the time on the bike. I used to listen when I rode my bike to work in my first ever SDR job, and it helped me get competent so much faster. If you're new to sales, this is probably the most important podcast you can listen to, because what you'll start to do is pick up on the habits and the routines and the best practices when you're fresh, when you're a blank slate, when you can actually start to implement and get way better, way faster. That way, as you get deeper into your sales career, you're not trying to break old routines. Scott, thank you for everything that you do with this show. And if you haven't listened to the Sales Success Stories podcast, get on that thing right now.
Now, let me put this into a bit of perspective. Nick not only listened to the podcast, but he took that inspiration and really did something with it, and was actually the most recent guest on the Sales Success Stories podcast, where I only interview quota-carrying individual contributors who are either the number one top performers in their companies, like Nick is today, or folks who work for very large sales teams who are in the top 1%. So I sincerely hope you'll take Nick's advice and go subscribe to Sales Success Stories and give a listen if you're not already. Also, if you'll check out the post for this tip at dailysales.tips/547, we'll have a picture of Nick's bike and the speaker he used to blast the podcast for everyone to hear as he passed slow-moving cars stuck in traffic in California while he rode into work. We'll also have a link to his episode on Sales Success Stories, as well as my episode on his own new podcast called 30 Minutes to President's Club that is so good. He and Armand Farouk are doing a really amazing job with that show. Once you've done all that, be sure to come back tomorrow for another great sales tip. Thanks for listening.